It's time to look in the looking glass. The looking glass will reveal what once was, what is, and what is yet to come. In this reading, we are going to be reading for Andrea. Although this is an individual reading, this is also a collective reading that may be in divine timing for you if you are here, because we're going to talk about a pole shift. What we have shifted into is a new paradigm, kind of like leaving a patriarch and going to a matriarch, kind of like leaving the moon and going to the sun, kind of like shifting from lead to gold, and kind of like dying before we die and rebirthing. It's also a marriage, and our soul doubles like an embryo. And so when we begin to expand our consciousness and our soul, our world changes and it makes us feel a little uncomfortable. So let's understand what's happening. Andrea, you are at 12 o'clock. You have the threefold flame on your head as a crown. You have the Holy Grail. This golden color can be seen throughout your piece. The Holy Grail, the lion at 1 o'clock, and the golden eggs at 5 o'clock. You have a white holy dove at your throat. You have a white sailboat at your solar plexus. You have a white rose with a white hand around your groin area. And there is white smoke being blown out of the dragon. You are also putting on white or glass slippers like Cinderella. There is a Pinocchio at 7 o'clock and a smaller dragon. There's a young girl at 9 o'clock and a white unicorn. There is a white owl at 11 o'clock with a tic-tac-toe symbol. The tic-tac-toe symbol reflects the number 11 lying down, which means death, and the number 11 standing up is a rebirth, and it means life. This is 11:11, and there is some telling that, like a thief in the night, we died and yet we didn't die. We went through a polar shift. There is a male energy below the dragon, blowing out smoke of his mouth, speaking to you that your dragon will come to you in the form of relationships, human beings, technology, maybe even nature. If you are going through your dragon phase, you are being tested and possibly judged. You will be pushed in possible ruthless ways so that you go back to a 0 point energy, feeling nothing, believing nothing, becoming nothing. So you go through the eye of the needle, which is the golden color at the top of your crown. And when you become nothing, you become everything, and you become psychic and an oracle, and you are no longer separated from truth that should be universal. Your second piece reflects the three sisters of the bee goddess. The bee goddess holds an orb and an apple. All of the white colors within both pieces reflects a purification, and it also reflects invisible energies working with you. The invisible mother, the invisible spirit guide, the invisible frequency, the invisible downloads that spontaneously come into our consciousness. Notice the swine at 7 o'clock, the heart going upside down, and then the right side heart that is right side up, and the cow that is inside a glass looking like a glass of milk. This is a land of milk and honey. The honey reflecting the bees, and the honey and the milk reflecting the cow. The milk is also representative of a world that is turning invisible. If the male energy and the moon energy reflects a visible world, the female reflects an invisible world. And this invisible female is here as a divine mother to birth that which has not been birthed, and to bring life that which has not been awoken. So it's a wonderful time to be alive, and it's a wonderful chance and opportunity to hear the voice of that invisible spirit and obey it, because it is a voice of truth and life, and it defies death and lies. The white is also about the smoke and going through the crucible, burning away all that is false, like the dragon blowing out white smoke. When the dragon comes into your life, it is a suggestion of metals. There are 7 metals that are connected to your 7 chakras and the 7 spirits of God. It is connected to Mercury and the soul. Like the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, the dragon also eats its own tail. This is a story that gods, deities, and ancient goddesses are actually your future self, going around like a circle. The dragon, when it comes into your life, will fight you if you are out of balance. If you have arrogance, self-importance, low self-worth, belief systems which are not in alignment with the all God, then the dragon pushes you to become nothing. You have to surrender. It will try to devour you. The threefold flame is the divine spark. It's also known as the Christ flame. I think it's also connected to the 3 sisters of the bee goddesses. They are a story that is synonymous. It is the divine spark of God's own heart. This is a frequency that we learn to merge into. 3 plumes, or the 3 flames, is a secret chamber of the heart, the root of joy. It is the Trinity, the 3 sisters. So the blue represents God's power, the Father. The yellow is the center, which is wisdom, which is the owl. The Son of God, being the center of the 3 crosses. And the pink represents God's love. The Trinity of body, mind, and soul. The flame within our heart is our personal focus of the sacred fire. It is your opportunity to become the Christ, to embody the Christ, walking on water, raising the dead, not because of your own will, but because of the will of your higher self, which we are all connected to, like an invisible web. When there is an imbalance of the 3 plumes, this prevents our achievement of the goal of individual Christ mastery. The 3 plumes will expand within our consciousness and gradually enfolds our being until God, as a holy wisdom, is enthroned upon the altar of your heart. But in order for these flames to really take hold, we have to have devotion, and devotion is a form of obedience to the voice of truth. And this balance is difficult. We have to balance who we should be in a relationship with. What should we eat? What should we wear? What should we do? How do we hunt for personal power? How do we speak to our higher self? How does our higher self speak back to us? Are our dreams really our dreams, or are we seeing through someone else's eyes? There are many deep secrets to this awakening. Now notice the ancient hieroglyph of the 3 bees. You have some of these symbols in your art. They come from ancient Sumer. The bird at the top is the bird that is at your chest. The cocoon of the bee looks like the Vesica piscis. This is the eye of the needle. The golden essence of life, the land of milk and honey, is about the age of Aquarius, the golden age of Aquarius, gaining our golden crown and shifting from lead to gold. This is going from the dragon to gold, shifting from manhood to godhood, Christ consciousness. Now in your piece, someone is wearing a golden ring, and in the story of the 3 goddesses, there is a gold ring seal that was placed in a tomb. So this is absolutely telling you that this is your future self and your past self. I know, it's hard to believe. The golden ring and the golden honey is a promise that there is no death, that there only is more life, new beginnings. Now, this story takes us to a sacrificed bull, and this is the rising of the star Sirius. Sirius B, the dog star. Sirius B and Sirius C, the dog star, is the invisible mother. Her name is Emma Yaw. And when she comes, she's like Mother Mary, and she births Christ consciousness. And it's funny that they talk about the sacrifice of the bull, because this is the exact same story of Mithra. Mithra sacrificed the bull, and the bull turned into the moon. So the story of the three goddesses is about Mithra, and Mithra was the original Christ. The humming of the bee was actually heard as the voice of the goddess, the sound of creation, the voice of God, really. And they made these tombs that were shaped like beehives. And the three seers, or the three sisters, were called bee maidens who practiced divination. And they drank and ate honey at a very young age because it increased their oracle and psychic abilities. There are some fates sisters born, maidens 3 of them, adorned with swift wings. These sacred bee maidens, with their gift of prophecy, were to be Apollo's gift to Hermes. And these 3 goddesses are connected to the heart. So the heart is going to fall in alignment with the red apple. And the red apple igniting like a flame, like the red color. Sometimes I think all of these ancient stories are the exact same story, whether it's Osiris or Isis or the 3 goddesses or the 3 men on the crosses of Christ. There seems to be a parallel, a repetition going on here. I will say that in line with repetition, I do see that human beings are either born in the moon or the sun. And if you're born in the moon, you're born in darkness and sin. The god of the moon was named Sin. You will be under a patriarch, under narcissistic controls, and things will not be in your favor. But some people are born in the sun, where things are in your favor. And when we rebirth and go through a polar shift, we actually shift to the sun energy, and things begin to really change for us. So the apple is connected to your Taurus field. It is an invisible field that surrounds not only the earth and all living things, but the human body. It emanates from the heart, and the heart is the original brain that is 5,000 times stronger than the brain within our minds. This is why it's so important that our ego diminishes into almost zero so that the heart can dominate. And the heart, it connects with the invisible. The mind connects with form and the visible. This is why the orb in your piece looks invisible, like a bubble. Now you know why Dorothy followed Glinda, who came down in a bubble, and she walked the yellow brick road. This is the golden age of Aquarius. In order for your Taurus field to function properly, it must be connected in all directions. This includes downwards to the earth and upwards to spirit in higher consciousness. Higher consciousness does not mean up there, it just means all around us. The Taurus field is an electromagnetic field. You emit an electromagnetic energy out of your heart, and so does the sun. The stronger your heart becomes, the more aware it becomes of the voice of the sun. And it energizes your Taurus field and makes you not only conscious and awake, but it makes you powerful. The center of our Taurus field is the heart. The heart generates the largest electromagnetic field around the body. So the heart is the focal point for all that is. When our Taurus field is out of alignment or is in a low frequency, it is asleep. And you can kind of link it to Dorothy when the tornado knocked her out unconscious and took her to another world. The Taurus fields out of alignment looks like a tornado. Now you have to wonder if Dorothy, Taurus field, and tornado has some kind of secret message there. When your Taurus field is healthy and spinning in all directions without obstruction, it generates an infinite amount of energy, vitality, and life force. This self-healing energy creates inner balance and well-being. But if you have a Taurus field that has a bite out of it, you may be under mind control from unseen forces that look kind of like aliens. The archons, they cannot ascend like human beings, and they want you to eat poisonous apples, to poison and taint and distract you with lies, get you addicted to drugs, alcohol, promiscuity, and be very ignorant about spirit. And so Dorothy being slapped with the apple tree, Snow White eating the poisonous apple, and even Isaac Newton being hit in the head with an apple is an allegory that although the apple is painful, if we persist in all efforts, like Isaac Newton, it will lead us to truth. And this truth will grow our spirit and we will walk on water. Now, the dragon is blowing the number 11 over your legs, almost cutting your legs off. This is a little warning that people who come into your life may be the dragon, like a wolf in sheep's clothing, to test you. And I don't want you to get paranoid about the words, the adjectives that I'm using, like testing or judgment or any of that. Think of the story of Cinderella. She was tested by an evil stepmother and evil stepsisters and a bunch of jerks. If she would have reacted by setting the place on fire and killing those people, she would have had to redo the Age of Pisces because she did not hear the voice of Spirit who would have directed her in all of her ways on how to step into a better world, like glass slippers. It was the invisible fairy godmother who came like a blink of an eye or a thief in the night that helped her find her castle. And it's like the sorting hat on Harry Potter. You are sorted, we are sorted as to where we go. And so we have to be careful and really have those ears to hear Spirit so that we go where we're meant to go, not manipulated by archons or mind control, people who cannot shift, or entities or deities who cannot shift past the lower realm, which we see at 7 o'clock with a Pinocchio. This is someone who has not become a real boy because of lies. And people who follow death, lies, destruction, self-importance, ego, they never really get to go through that polar shift or the 2 pillars of Solomon's temple. They are not purified. So that you are having your shoe being sized to see if it fits is Spirit telling you that right now is our time to focus on our Taurus field, focus on what we eat, the honey, the land of milk and honey, who we are around. And if Spirit tells you to change your diet, clean your house, clean your car, cleanliness is next to godliness, clean your relationships. If Spirit tells you, you should do it. Don't listen to man. Don't listen to psychics. Don't listen to mediums or even me. You have the ability to hear that voice yourself. And it's really important to grow that muscle of hearing that voice so that you are never lost or finding yourself eating a poisonous apple and being put to sleep. You are a bringer of the land of milk and honey. You are a bringer of the age of Aquarius. We spent much of our life in darkness and ignorance. It is time now to indulge in the energies of truth, life, and joy. And this joy energy will protect our heart. It is a boundary that we set and almost insist upon. I suggest listening to comedy, laughing at yourself and others, because joy is your strength. Against what? Mind control, lies, deception, manipulation, anything that polarizes you or makes you lose your golden crown. So just know that you are not alone and you are loved. You are going through a polar shift and you are seeing this dragon manifest as people in your life. But if you hear the voice of Spirit and Spirit tells you how to handle all of these situations and you handle it the way Spirit says, then you will wear the golden slippers, or not the golden slippers, the glass slippers, and go to the mansion of many rooms wearing the crown, being united with your Adam and Eve, and finding your Trinity, Adam, Eve, and Spirit, uniting as one in a sacred marriage, the 3 sisters, the threefold flame. Thank you, Andrea, for what your Spirit has to teach us. I encourage you to continue to study the symbolisms within your piece. as they are vast. My name is Mary Moses. If you would like a reading, go to forestfairy.com.